Hi everyone, welcome back to our Shawol Soul. I'm Jen. This is
Jen! Hello.
Hello. So
we are here for Key's new song.
We've been diving out of the way of the sloughs of SHINee posting. Sorry, I have a mint in my mouth. And y'all posting because this is when we could get together to film this, and it's a Friday night.
And the song has been out like all week,
yeah.
pretty much.
So we finally get to see it.
Yes.
So I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see where this fits in with the album. I'm kind of curious to see what the repackaging is like.
Yeah, my album hasn't come yet.
Hello, it's always late.
It's always late. Otherwise, I would have, showed everybody. But
yes, so another time.
But we are planning on doing the other two songs that are new off the repackaged album.
Yes.
On a different video because we're waiting for the VCR for Easy to come out. It's supposed to come out tomorrow.
Yes.
So we will do that then.
Yes.
So we're just gonna.
But what's it's so easy, and what's the other song?
Heartless.
Heartless. Heartbreak. Heartless. Are these boys collaborating together somewhere down the line here? I mean, they are SHINee, but
I don't know.
It is Key's Heartless a reply to whomever broke
it makes me think of Alice in Wonderland.
I know, right?
I don't know why, but it just does.
But I'm curious. I'm curious to see where this goes, and I'm curious of a lot of things. So I don't know. Shall we roll?
Yep.
I guess where we go.
We'll just watch the video and then we'll talk about it after.
Okay, take it away. Oh. Okay, Taman. You have any thoughts on this? Sorry.
Actually, it makes me think of Chase.
Yes. But Taman also advice.
이것과 닮은 모습을 한참 따라오지 나를 비듯이 이제야 보여 innocent eyes 내가 내 맘에 속아 저지른 the crying 어느덧 또다시 나를 탓하듯이 다가온 너를 바라봐 Promise you won't regret. Promise you won't forget. I can't 했던 이 벽에 불러주네. 네 심장을 부르셨던 난 I can't breathe. 제가 된 감정이다. 선명히 되살아나. Yeah.
Wow.
We were very quiet during that video. Like, extremely quiet during that video.
I couldn't help but be taken on a journey of 4 boys. Whether it was Key's intentional or not, I saw Taemin.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Onu. I saw Minho. And even at times, I saw Jung. Key is definitely present in that. But even some of the lyrics and the movements, like Killer, like, okay, he did this. Taemin did this.
Mm-hmm.
Car accidents. The only one that ever really did car accidents to start with was Taemin. And then here Minho had the car accident. Taemin's the only one that had a car inverted on flames. And here Key has that. That song has a lot in it.
When I heard the song, and I don't want to go into it too much because I don't want to skew anyone's view or opinion, because whenever you have any kind of song that has a deep emotion to it, I think everyone should have a personal view.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that when I watched it and listened to the song, I did get the sense that the song has a very deep meaning, a very personal meaning to Key, that's almost sad in a way.
Painful.
And it's not really clear whether he's talking to someone else or if he's talking to himself. But even if he's talking to himself, it's almost like he's talking to himself about somebody else. So however you want to kind of look at that. But even just the way that that music video ended, right? There's like this long, like,
outro.
well, there's nothing going on. It's silent, and he's just like sad, like super sad. And then there's that last scene where he looks up into the sky.
Yes.
So I don't know. I just get the feeling that this song just has a way bigger meaning than it from just appearances. And I do, going off of what you said, I do think that this song is linked to Bad Love, and I think it's linked to Gasoline, and he actually did say that it's a trilogy, and I'm wondering if he basically is doing the same thing that Taemin did, because Taemin had a trilogy. And I could kind of almost see mirror images of what Taemin did and what he's trying to do, but it's almost like his own personal journey, right?
Exactly.
Because Taemin's was his own, right?
Right.
Taemin's was his identity, and he walked you through his identity. I think with this, Key's doing the same thing, but his is not identity per se.
Because
okay?
Key gave you his identity. He you know, and I'm not saying this to laugh, but Key came out and said, you know, that he was what, the chicken?
Oh yeah.
He gave his own philosophy on it because he was trying to figure out where he fit in. And he found his niche. Key is very good with fashion. And he's very good with, the boy can cook. I mean, he has these great visions for food and for fashion. And he helps, you know, his brothers in that aspect, you know.
Right.
And so that was his part. Taemin being the baby and the youngest of the group, he's still trying to find his way in his trilogy. He was still trying to figure out who he was, what it was, you know, what made him tick. And he gave you that. And now before he went into the military, he had a good image of himself, of what he was, what he wanted to be, and what he was no longer going to allow to happen. that he was no longer going to take other people's advice. He was going to go with his own advice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he left us with.
Right.
I
do think, though, that Key is using the imagery from Minho's Chase, and he's also using the same imagery from Taemin, and he's making it his own. So he's basically taking the symbols, and he's making it apply in the same way, but to tell his own personal story.
Right.
Because, I mean, even if you look at Taemin's, right, the last of the three has the car accident with the, right? And his last one is the car accident. But the difference is that with Taemin's car accident, it's like the self, right? Like he's destroying his old self. He's freeing, the person that was trapped in his mind, and he's now basically saying, screw it, I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and this is the new me kind of thing, right?
Right.
Where with Key, it's not really so much about, Key's always been very, independent in himself or whatever.
Right.
That's not Key's journey.
Right.
It's almost like Key is using the crash as symbolic for a relationship of some sort.
Right.
Whether that relationship is with himself,
right,
or with himself and someone else.
Correct.
But that's what the catalyst is for everything that happens in the three music videos. And even if you think about Bad Love, right? Bad Love and Killer have very similar meanings, even though Bad Love is not as deep and emotional. But if you think about the way that the lyrics are, right? And it's very similar to Criminal Bad Love, if you think about it, because it's about a toxic relationship.
Right.
But we know from Criminal, Taemin's Criminal, that it was a relationship with himself.
Yeah, it was himself trapping himself in his mind. He was creating his own Stockholm syndrome within his mind.
So maybe that's what Key's Bad Love is, now that we are sitting here thinking about all the songs, right? And he, in Bad Love, there's all the mirrors and stuff, and he's looking in various mirrors. So, I mean, it could possibly be that he has a negative relationship with himself, but it's not the same journey that Taemin's on. It's a different toxic relationship with himself, right?
Right.
And clearly from Killer, there's a relationship that is really affecting Key.
Right.
Which is different from Taemin's journey.
Right. And I have my thoughts on it, but it's not thoughts that I want to, I'll share privately with Jen. And and it's not disrespect to anyone else. And I don't want to upset Shawol's, because some things do still trigger us. And because we do care, all of us do. And so that's why, I do have my thoughts, and I'm going to share them with her. But Jen is on something. This is his private journey that he's going on, and I do believe it is a relationship that, whether it's his own personal relationship with himself or with someone else, because there was just, I felt like I could take, not so much Onu, but just the way his looks were. There was a few where they panned to his face that I could see, just the face that he was making, that was Onu. And then there was a way he was standing one time, and the face he was making, I could tell that was Minho. But there was a lot, to me, that was like Taemin, like when he did the...
Yeah,
and
even the long hair.
Right.
Now that actually made me think of, we could sit here for hours talking about all the little things. I mean, if we watch this video over and over again, I'm sure we could come up with
more.
But like, that one section reminds me of a device.
Right.
Where that, you have this whole song, and then at the very end of the song, you change up your costume. And he had the long hair, and it looked like he went back in time.
Right.
Like, it was very, and obviously the song is very retro. It's very 80s.
Right.
I mean, we didn't talk about his costumes. We didn't talk about the music. I mean, all reactors on YouTube talk about the same stuff.
Right. Right.
I mean, we could sit here and talk about all that stuff too, but we really care more about what's actually trying to be said.
Right.
It almost reminded me of Advice in that respect. But it was almost like, with Taemin, it was like a new version of himself.
Right.
With Key, it was like he was going back in time. Right.
I'm going back in time. I want to change something. There's something that I need to change. There's something that I wish I could change.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, the words really spoke. But the fact that he doubled Killer and he doubled Thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, yes, that was definitely a Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
even the
Thriller,
motions.
even the motions was a Michael Jackson reference.
Yeah, it was.
So, which really put it in an 80 context.
Mm-hmm.
Because Michael was very big in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And, and Taemin, was also very big on Michael Jackson. I mean, Taemin could dance like Michael Jackson. Taemin still can dance like Michael Jackson. That will probably never change. Taemin is a phenomenal dancer. But it just, that whole thing, that the way the moves, the way they all move, the sequency of it, I can't. And then I grew up tongue-tied, so not every word comes out properly. But just the way that they moved together in those spots.
Oh yeah, the choreography was. I think the choreography tells the story, but we have to watch that over and over again to really
because I was too busy trying to watch the lyrics because I don't understand Korean. But it's just like, okay, he is saying something. I mean, I was actually starting to tear up.
Oh yeah,
because
he does that.
I feel like, but that's
he
his
does these
music.
Like, he hides
these
emotional stuff in these fast
songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this boy is trying to release pain.
There is something else that I really do think means something, and I don't 100% know exactly where he's going with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept of fire.
Fire, yes.
He has that in every single video that he's done so far.
Mm-hmm.
In the lyrics, in the videos of all the songs. And if you think about it, in fact, I actually kind of want to look up the lyrics real quick right now. But if you think about Gasoline,
yes,
it's about a vehicle. And if you think about Killer and what he was on,
a motorcycle,
right? Mm-hmm. So there's something to this. And then on the album, there's a song called Burn.
Mm-hmm.
Kate,
if you ever see this, I'm gonna keep saying it, but your song Burn, your vocals on Burn is phenomenal. You should sing Lower Registry more often. It is just sexy as fuck. Oh, sorry. Sexy as hell.
Okay, so, all right, hold on. Let me...
Can't help it.
So, like, okay, I just looked up Bad Love.
Okay.
So, like, for example, there's a lyric in here about being a killer.
Yes.
So it says, deja vu is slowly waking up, the unruly killer and the rational logic. I see my heart getting twisted. That's interesting.
And a heart. So there's killer and heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then
he says, don't know why I'm so attracted to you. You're R-rated. Thrilling, but mysterious circles. Feeling strange, but I'm addicted to you. The overwhelming romance. I call you light and darkness. Let me see. I'm trying to think. And then, let me see. Gasoline.
So we have...
Now, Gasoline has the biggest. I know it does. So, Gasoline. Okay. Inflame me.
Mm-hmm.
Wind me up. I'll take it all. One spark is all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm skipping down. It's time to go, don't you know, no, fire my gasoline in the end, I always deliver, now, I know, no, shoot. So this song is all about the physical driving, like you're actually in motion.
Right.
Where Killer, he's done.
Right.
Like he's caused the accident in Killer, right? Because he's the killer, right?
Right.
So he was in Gasoline, he was like in motion, and then in Killer, the accident has happened, but it's almost like he's implying that somebody died, metaphorically, right?
Right.
In the accident, and he's responsible for that,
Right.
in some way. And then, yeah, so shoot my gasoline, yeah, I got it, baby.
Right.
Trying to think if there's anything else in this.
Yeah, because he says, fire my gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Gasoline, he mentions trigger, which
Yes.
I remember even in here, he says something about pulling a trigger or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, and he has a gun in his hand. And what do you do when you have a gun in your hand and you want to fire it? You have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and then even here, racing hot.
Yeah.
Burning gasoline,
Yes.
racing. My style, my ego.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not even to, I do believe you're right about the trilogy, and if that's what he said, that it is Bad Love, it is Gasoline, and it is Killer.
Yeah, he said it's his retro trilogy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also think that the songs on the album support this,
Mm-hmm.
even
Sure
with the other one, because the song about My Mama Told Me, where, and then the one where I guess it's Pride one too, where he talks about that he never chases the success.
Right.
That's a person who does that has dropped their ego.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they are extremely humble. They drop their ego. They don't need, you know, validation from anyone else but from themselves. They don't need the awards and everything. It's great to have the accolades and stuff, but it's not, they didn't do it to get them. They did it because they love what they do.
Right.
So there's a fine line between there. And so, and then didn't he say something about ego in this song, Killer?
Yeah, and I actually think he says something about it even in Gasoline too. But
Yeah.
again, this is what I'm saying. Like, we'd have to go back and rewatch all the stuff.
So what if this was him saying, you know, he's letting go of his old self, or he's letting go of something trying to capture his old self?
Well, if we look kind of at it like we do with Taman's, right? Because they
Mhm.
are very similar.
They
to
are.
Taman's. Like, literally, like, Bad Love is criminal. Like,
Right.
It is. It's
Idea.
a toxic relationship. There's also this kind of, like, with Bad Love, now that I think about it, it has a lot to do with the facade.
Right.
Right? Because he's got, like, the behind the scenes, but he's, like, on stage.
Right.
And then he's behind the scenes and he's, like, really unhappy, but then he's, you know,
Yes.
filming, or
Yes.
he's in that talk show, and then there's a part where he's just like, screw it, I'm just going to do what I want in this talk show. But in
Yes.
reality, we know that can never happen, right?
Right, right.
So it's kind of like, there is this kind of, like, he's making a statement about
Right.
reality versus fantasy, in a sense, right? Like,
Correct.
you have a display or something that you have to show the world, and then you have yourself behind the scenes. And actually, speaking of that, he mentions tragedy, and he mentions that line about, I think it's like a Shakespearean thing about comedy and being on stage.
All the world's
in Killer.
the stage. Oh, in Killer,
Yeah,
yeah.
there were lyrics about, like, it being a tragedy, and then there was some other line about something about a stage reference.
Mhm.
And that made me think of Bad Love,
Right,
which is very much that vibe.
right.
And then Gasoline is kind of like him embracing himself, because, right, it's a really, like, badass song.
Right.
And idea, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but it's Taman's version of him coming to terms with himself
Right.
and accepting, you know, the dark and the
The
light.
dark and the light.
Right, and
He
finding
can
a
live
balance.
Right.
Where with Key, he's just being his badass self. He's just
Right.
basically like, I'm just amazing and wonderful, and, you know, and he's kicking ass kind of thing.
Right.
So it's kind of like that in a way. It's almost kind of like, this is what Key would be like without the facade.
Right. Right.
And then you have Killer, which, you know, I still think there's a whole his hidden thing that means something to him.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. There is something there. There's something very painful there. You can just see it on his face. You can hear it when he sings it. There's something that he wants to shed.
Right.
And just be done with it. And then that way he can move on.
And in a way, it kind of almost reminds me a little bit of Two Kids.
Yes.
Even though he didn't have a fourth song. But it's kind of similar to that where, you know, Tame obviously it wasn't part of the trilogy, but it was this like really emotional song about a relationship.
Right.
And it's kind of similar to that too.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
So.
Which, you know, I'm just, I thought it was, I mean, if I had to give it 1 out of 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best,
It would be 10.
It would be a 10. Yeah. On the video overall, on the dancing overall, 10. On the lyrics, 10. On his facial expressions and able to pull it off, 10. His costumes, 10. This man knows how to entertain.
Oh yeah.
Taemin does too. So does Onu, and so does Minho. They all have their own unique way of doing things.
Yes.
But Key amazes me. He really does. Because I think that man has never really given himself the credit that he has always deserved to give himself. If I had to say in what order out of Bad Love, Gasoline, and Killer I like, it would be Killer, Gasoline, and Bad Love.
Yeah, it's actually a really catchy song too.
Yes,
like,
it is.
I could see the song like just being in your head like, all the time.
Yeah, because I'm already still over here bopping because I'm like, I'm going through it in my head and I'm like, yeah, I could see this now. And
It'll be interesting to see if the 2 new songs
yes.
also have lyrics that go with, if there's any fire references and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
that would be cool to see.
Because they are in Gasoline.
Yes.
You know, obviously Bad Love is from a different album.
Yeah, it is.
But I could see him continuing with this fire theme.
But Bad Love could be the prequel too.
Right. And I do think it is. And he did say it was his retro trilogy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I well done, Key. I think it was superb. Well done. What did you all think when you watched it? You know, and what did you guys think of the extra songs? Tell us. We would like to know. Until next time, which will probably be, we'll probably
tomorrow,
be filming it tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. But I don't know when we'll be back.
Yeah.
You know, when we actually get all this uploaded. But
you never know.
But we have 2 more songs to do, so.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Until then, please stay safe. Please keep sending the boys lots of love. Please keep watching their MVs, listening to their music on Spotify or iTunes or whatever you listen to on. Buy their albums if you wish. Some people buy hundreds of them. Some people buy 2 or 3. Some buy one of every version. Just support them the best way you can. Even if it's just kind words, just please do it. Until next time, take care. See